Everyone, today in this video we will talk about the cardiac cycle, its events, and you know that heart beats rhythmically while contraction and relaxation, the sequence of events that is occurring between the heartbeats, between one heartbeat to the next heartbeat. This process is known as cardiac cycle. Cardiac cycle, in a simple terms, it's called as the contraction and relaxation of the heart for a heartbeat. Okay, it lasts for zero point 0.8 seconds. It lasts for 0.8 seconds. Before going into the cardiac cycle, we need to know about two main important terminology. One is systole, and other one is diastole. Systole is the contraction phase of a heart. It is a contraction phase of a heart. As the heart contracts, we can say systole, contraction phase of a heart. Whereas diastole, it indicates the relaxation phase of a heart. Relaxation phase of a heart. So what are the steps in which the cardiac cycle takes place? So the following steps takes place. One is arterial systole or auricular systole. Auricular systole. Auricular systole, it is approximately 0.1 seconds. It is 0.1 seconds. Ventricular systole. Ventricular systole, it is 0.3 seconds. And joint diastole. Joint diastole, it is 0.4 seconds. So totally 0.8 seconds. So the cardiac cycle lasts for 0.8 seconds. One contraction and one relaxation of the heart that are occurring sequentially for one heartbeat to the next heartbeat is called as cardiac cycle. So the following events takes place in the cardiac cycle. One is auricular systole, ventricular systole and joint diastole. So let me explain one by one. We will go through one by one. Okay. Let us see the auricular systole. The contraction phase is called systole and the relaxation phase is called diastole. Okay. So how many chambers in a heart do we have? We are having 4 chambers. So let me make it clear. So this is a superior vena cava. Here comes the heart. The heart is tilted towards to the left side in a cardiac notch. And this was the largest artery, the aorta. And this comes the pulmonary artery, which carries the deoxygenated blood to the heart. Okay. This aorta is arising from the left ventricle. And the pulmonary artery is arising from the right ventricle. Okay. So here comes the 2 pulmonary veins. So you need to know all the important parts of the heart so that it will easy to understand clear. And this is the inferior vena cava. And this comes the valve, tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. In between these 2, there was septas. Septas separates the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So is it clear? Look here. The right side of the heart has deoxygenated blood, whereas the left side of the heart has oxygenated blood. So we have seen this in the previous video. How this blood is brought to the right side. So this is the right side. And how the blood is brought towards to the left side. So we will see in detail how the cardiac cycle works. Look here. This is a superior vena cava or the precaval vein. This is the inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava collects the deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body. Okay, it is bringing the blood from the upper part of the body. Whereas inferior vena cava is just opening here. It is opening here. And this one is opening here. It is opening into the right auricle and this is also opening into the right auricle. And there is one more sinus. A sinus means a small opening or a space. Here, this is called coronary sinus. Coronary sinus. This is coronary sinus. What is the use of this coronary sinus? The heart was supplied with coronary arteries and coronary veins. That veins are also bringing deoxygenated blood, and they were pouring into this auricle. So coronary sinus is an opening for the coronary vein that brings the deoxygenated blood. So do you got an idea how this right side got deoxygenated blood? Okay, listen. Next, coming to the left side, who is bringing the blood? The pulmonary veins are bringing the blood. They were pulmonary veins. How many pulmonary veins are there? They were mostly 4 pulmonary veins. 2 is from the left side and 2 is from the right side. So all this get opens into this chamber, the left auricle. Understand everyone? So listen everyone. So this side the deoxygenated blood, the oxygenated blood is going to release into this left auricle. These pulmonary veins are bringing the blood from the lungs. So do you got an idea who is bringing the blood? The blood is brought into the right auricle by the vena cavas. To the left auricle, the blood is brought by the pulmonary veins. Understand? What is the first event in the cardiac cycle? Auricular systole. That means auricles are going to contract. First, the auricles are going to contract. How they were going to contract? Listen, as the blood was filled simultaneously, at a time the blood is going to fill in this both auricles. First it is not being filled later. It's not going to happen like that. Both the auricles at a time they were being filled with the blood from the veins. Understand? So here is an oxygenated and here is a deoxygenated. As a result, what happened? The pressure inside the auricles increases. So pressure increases in the auricles. Pressure increases. As the pressure increases, what happened? Immediately the auricles start contracting. The auricles start contracting. As the auricles contract, immediately the AV valves. What are the AV valves? Tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. Both are called as AV valves. They get opened like this. See, actually I have drawn in an open way. So the blood flows from right auricle to right ventricle. From the left auricle to left ventricle, the blood moves. So the pressure inside the auricle increases. As a result, the blood moves from auricles to ventricles upon systole, upon contraction. Fine here everything? Now, so as soon as the blood comes into the ventricles start filling the blood. Now the ventricles are going to fill the blood which is being poured by the auricles. Let's start with the next step, that is ventricular systole. As ventricles are going to contract, they're going to relax. Previously, the auricles are in contraction, the ventricles are in relaxation. But right now, the ventricles are going to contract, the auricles are going to relax. As the blood is completely filled, now the pressure inside the ventricles is going to increase. Now the pressure inside the ventricles is going to increase. Now the blood try to move back. Now the blood try to go back. To prevent this backward flow of blood, AV valves closes. AV valves immediately what happened? They help in pouring the blood from auricles to ventricles. Now the ventricles are filled with blood. Immediately what happened? Now the blood try to go back. To prevent this backward flow of blood, valves are very, very important. Which valves closes? AV valves. Then we can hear the first sound of the heartbeat, lub. Is it clear? Closure of AV valves brings the sound lub. It is very short. Understand? Short sound. Lub. Okay. Now the blood cannot move below because it is completely muscular layer. Now the blood moves into the respective arteries. Now the blood moves from here into the respective arteries. From the left, from the right to the pulmonary artery, the blood is being carried, and from the left to the aorta, this one is an aorta, the largest artery in the body, the blood is being carried. So the blood moves into the respective arteries. So as the blood is moving against the gravity, yes or no? So there were some valves. We know that it is an pulmonary artery. This is a pulmonary artery. So the valve is pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. And this is aorta. So this is called aortic valve. Both the valves closes. Both the valves closes. Both the valves together called as semilunar valves. As the blood is going into the respective arteries, it try to come back. To prevent the backward flow of blood, the valves of semilunar closes. Then we can hear the second sound dub. Understood? So closure of AV valves brings the first sound la and second sound dub on upon closing by the semilunar valves. So this is about ventricular systole. As the ventricles contract, the blood moves into the respective arteries. So it is 0.4 seconds and this is 0.1 seconds. So the blood is completely pumped outside. Now all the four chambers are in relaxed position. That is called as joint diastole. This is called as joint diastole. Joint diastole is 0.4 seconds. So this is 0.3 seconds. Do you understand? So cardiac cycle has mainly three phases: arterial systole, ventricular systole, joint diastole. In joint diastole, all the four chambers are empty. All the four chambers are empty. Again, the blood filling takes place in the heart. Okay, again the blood filling takes place in the heart, and we need to know, and I'm going to tell you a simple that and how much amount of blood is being pumped for each beat from the heart. So we will see here. So how many beats in a normal adult? It is 72 beats per minute. How many beats per minute? In a normal adult, the number of beats per minute is 72. For one beat, 70 ml of blood comes out of left ventricle. I'm not calculating the right ventricle. I'm calculating the left ventricle because the left ventricle is passing oxygenated blood. 70 ml of blood comes out of the left ventricle per each beat. Per each beat. This is called a stroke volume. This is called a stroke volume. What is the formula of stroke volume? Number of heartbeats into the amount of blood pumped by the each ventricle. So stroke volume gives 70 ml plus 72 beats per minute. It is approximately 5040 milliliters of blood per minute is being sent out by the body. So this is called as cardiac output. This is called as cardiac output. I hope you understand. Stroke volume. The stroke volume formula, the number of heartbeats into the amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle. That gives the cardiac output. So